Fear is the greatest tool of all. It paralyzes, controls, and makes the strongest men weak.
And today, fear is coming to your shelf because we're looking at the brand new MAFEX Hush Scarecrow. Is this the stuff of nightmares, or will it leave you screaming in disappointment? Let's find out. All right, before we unleash the terror, let's check out the box. Right in the front, we have the Hush logo looming over a sinister promo shot of Scarecrow himself, with his name written below. Of course, we also get the MAFEX, Metacom, and DC logos to remind you this is a premium figure. Both sides of the box showcase promo shots of the figure, with one side featuring the official Metacom authenticity sticker. The back gives us a glimpse of the figure and all the extras he comes with. This is figure number 229 in the MAFEX line, and 17 and up, guess they realize this guy's face isn't exactly kid-friendly. One last look at the top of the box, and we see another promo shot with the Hush logo hovering over it like a bad omen. Now, let's unleash the fear. All right, let's get this out of the way. When this figure was announced, I was terrified, not because of how creepy it looked, but because it barely came with any accessories. Spending top dollar and not getting enough? Now that's a real horror story. But let's break it down. We get 3 pairs of extra hands, a pair of grasping hands, perfect for reaching out like he's about to inject some fear toxin into your soul. A pair of gripping hands, ideal for grabbing whatever Gotham's worst nightmares need. A pair of wide open hands, so he can look extra dramatic when monologuing about fear, which, let's be real, is 80% of his personality. Next up, 2 alternate head sculpts. First, the unmasked Jonathan Crane head, capturing his comic-accurate, sunken-eyed, sinister look. This is Scarecrow before he puts on the mask, and honestly, he might look even creepier without it. And then we have the screaming face, pure nightmare fuel. This sculpt nails the terror, with exaggerated details that make it look straight out of the Batman comics. And can we talk about the sculpt and paint on these heads? Perfection. The stitches, rope detailing, and subtle shading, absolutely insane. Every little paint stroke adds to the realism. This thing could haunt your dreams. But that's it. No scythe, no fear toxin effects. MAFEX, why must you play with our emotions like this? Now, onto the figure itself. Scarecrow is rocking his traditional, classic comic look, which honestly is my personal favorite version of him. By default, he comes with a creepy, stitched-up smiling face and a pair of relaxed hands, as if he's calmly plotting his next fear-induced nightmare. And let's talk about this sculpt. MAFEX did not hold back. The paint application is flawless from hat to toe. Literally, the head sculpt is sharp, clean, and terrifying in the best way. That straw hair, beautifully sculpted. Even the hat folds have a nice, realistic shape, like it's been worn for years of psychological warfare. His costume itself is a deep, earthy brown with incredibly detailed folds sculpted into the fabric, making it look naturally worn and tattered, exactly how a nightmare-inducing villain should appear. The stitches on his costume are meticulously painted, giving off that eerie, homemade horror vibe. The patches on his elbows and knees, painted in a darker gray, adding contrast to his already ragged look. His mask, gloves, and shoes have a lighter brown tone, making them feel like they're made from different materials. Small details, but they add so much to the realism. Overall, this is the best-looking Scarecrow figure on the market, period. Now, let's see if this nightmare moves as terrifyingly well as it looks. From the top, his head can turn side to side effortlessly, like he's scanning the room for his next victim. He tilts slightly for that eerie, "you're already under my toxins" effects pose, just enough to make you feel uneasy. Looking down, it's okay. He can glare menacingly at his victims, making them feel small. Looking up, not so much. His sculpted hair keeps him grounded, as if even gravity fears what's in his mind. Next, we've got the butterfly joints, and they work beautifully. The forward motion is smooth. Scarecrow can stretch his arms out, creeping toward his next victim like he's about to lace them with fear toxin. Now, the backward motion is just as nice, letting him pull his arms back, as if he's reeling in from a deep breath, maybe savoring the effects of his latest toxin. His arms can go full 360-degree rotation, no resistance, no traditional bicep swivel here, but the upper arm rotates instead. This keeps the sculpt clean, ensuring he still looks like a twisted nightmare rather than an action figure. The double-jointed elbows, Oh, they've been deep, letting you crank his arms into some seriously unsettling, exaggerated poses. He can go from a casual, eerie stance to full-on, I'm about to unleash your worst nightmare. And the wrists, pure horror gold. The ball hinges give you total freedom. Tilt them forward, and suddenly, he's delicately holding a vial of fear toxin, ready to unleash chaos. Twists, fantastic. He can contort his body unnervingly, perfect for those unnatural Scarecrow-like poses. Tilts, just the right amount to make him look deranged, like he's taunting his prey. Ab crunch, he can hunch forward like he's whispering someone's worst nightmare into their ear. Bending backward, decent, but let's be real. Scarecrow's more about psychological takedowns than acrobatics. He doesn't need to flip when he can paralyze you with fear. Waist movement, smooth and natural, letting him shift his weight like he's stalking the dark corners of Gotham. Drop-down mechanism? Yep, we got it. Allowing for deeper stances, like he's crouching in the shadows, ready to strike terror. Thigh swivel? Slight, but functional enough to help fine-tune his stance. Single-jointed knees? A bold choice, but honestly, they work. They blend seamlessly with his sculpt, maintaining the eerie, stitched-together aesthetic while still offering a good range of motion. Ankles? Meh. They move, but they won't be pulling off any impressive angles. Toe articulation? It's there, adding just that extra bit of eerie, unsettling realism to his stance. Now, here's a little detail that makes a big difference. The lower leg swivel. It might not seem like much at first, but trust me, this adds a whole new layer to posing. Front kicks? Excellent. He can kick forward menacingly, like he's stepping closer to a paralyzed victim. Back kicks? Surprisingly solid for a guy who mostly lurks. Maybe he's more agile than we think. Side leg spread? Decent. He may not be a gymnast, but he's flexible enough to get into dynamic fear-striking poses, like lunging forward to deliver his toxin. All right, as we wrap things up, let's check how this nightmare stacks up next to other figures on the shelf. Scale is key. Does he tower over his foes like a true master of fear, or does he blend into the lineup? Let's find out while I give my final thoughts on whether this Scarecrow is a must-have for your collection. Pros: top-tier sculpt and paint. Creepy, comic-accurate design. Great articulation for the most part. Unmasked head adds variety. Cons: limited accessories. But despite its flaws, I gotta say, it's one of the best Scarecrow figures ever made. But what do you think? Is this the ultimate Scarecrow, or is he missing that extra bit of fear toxin? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss out on more action figure content. Until next time, sweet dreams.